The Pittsburgh Steelers might have won the battle yesterday against the Detroit Lions in an emotional win that was, deemed very controversial, but they may have just lost the war against the Lions. The Lions are probably happy that, especially Lions fans, that finding out that DK Metcalf has now been suspended for the rest of the season due to him punching a fan. Um, Speculation about this whole incident was that the fan called him a racial slur, and addressed his mom in a derogatory statement as well, apparently the C word. So DK retaliated, and it was reported that he was basically baiting him over there to sign a jersey or something like that. But regardless of the fact, I said in the video when I covered it yesterday that I knew the NFL would discipline DK Metcalf regardless, because nobody's bigger than the program. Nobody's bigger than the shield, the logo, and they will do anything to protect that brand. We've seen it time and time again, from the Super Bowl with Janet Jackson to, films that's discussing CTE or concussions, anything that could link to the NFL. They've tried to suppress and eliminate, negative press towards the NFL. And things like this are unacceptable. As a man, you have to have self-control as a professional, because the NFL is family oriented. I know it's kind of a contradiction because it's a violent game, but at the same time, there's so many kids that look up to these players. There's so many kids that come to these games and watch them, want to buy the merchandise, look up to these players. So there's an example that has to be set. And I'm not big on being disrespected under any type of circumstances. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like if you were to say that to me, I'm just gonna sit there and turn the other cheek. But at the same time, I understand with great power and being in certain positions of power, there's just certain things you have to endure. I wish DK Metcalf could have went about it another way, because in this situation with him, I knew he would be suspended or fined hefty, just because there's been so many occurrences of him losing his temper. So they're gonna do something to you to let you know, like, you better start thinking triple. Don't even think twice. You better think a lot about the things that you're doing in the heat of the moment, because we don't want you to ever think you can be comfortable enough to do this again. And also, on the other end, these fans and this heckling and this disrespect, it's not just going on in the NFL, it's going on in the NBA. People are doing these parlays and placing these bets. Man, these people are still man at the end of the day. And, it's nothing for them to throw away their money, because, they got, generational money already. I mean, yeah, it's going to hurt him losing these 2 game checks, but he's still rich. And he wants you to think about whatever you said, like, don't ever do that again. But it's not right, though, that fans think they can say whatever. So the NFL has to figure out a way to, there's got to be some separation. Now, all these microphones and cameras, and even looks like there's a woman right there sitting next to him. Like, all these people need to be investigated as well to get down to the bottom of it. I mean, this was in the middle of a high intense game. This game was very intense. So whatever was said, it had to have been crazy. For one second, I didn't believe he just called him by his government name. Come on, dog. And if he did, he added some sauce to it. You know what I mean when I say sauce. But I also did some research about this situation prior to starting this video to record. And the individual, the fan, is a long-standing fan for Detroit. He's a lifelong Detroit fan, and he goes by the name of Ryan Kennedy. And he denies using the N-word and the C-word. These were, this is what has been identified as the disrespect, according to DK Metcalf. He used a racial slur about him, and then he called his mom the C word. So this is what caused DK Metcalf to retaliate the way he did physically. And of course, Ryan denies saying any of that. And he says, he's not that type of person and he wouldn't do anything like that. Basically saying these allegations are completely false. And according to his lawyer, at no point before, during, or after the incident did Mr. Kennedy use racial slurs or hate speech of any kind. The claims suggesting otherwise are untrue and are not supported by video evidence or eyewitness accounts. Well, there goes me saying they need to investigate. According to the eyewitnesses, they said, it never happened with the racial slurs. Despite reports in the media last night, Mr. Kennedy has not used such language during any interaction with Mr. Metcalf or any other players in the past. Since these false statements began circulating publicly, Mr. Kennedy has been subjected to harassment, threats, and messages advocating violence, creating serious concerns for his family, his family's personal safety and well-being. This is according to his lawyer. No private individual should be falsely branded with such accusations or exposed to threats based on misinformation. Mr. Kennedy is a lifelong Detroit Lions football fan who attends the game lawfully and never anticipated becoming the subject of national attention, much less false accusations of racism. He respects the game, the players, and fellow fans, and he rejects hate and discrimination in all forms. Well, this was all according to head Murphy Law. That sounds good, but I mean, it's three sides to every story. It's the two opposing parties, and then there's the truth. And I look forward to seeing like what comes of this. But if he doesn't have a history of any type of interaction like this, I mean, he got a strong case. I mean, it's just a weird situation. I just can't see how a player would crash out like that if something to that magnitude wasn't said. But as far as the Pittsburgh Steelers and Steeler Nations, this is not a good look for our team and our personnel. Our playoff hopes could be in jeopardy if the Ravens were to win. I forgot it's a lot that has to happen, but we definitely need to win this upcoming Sunday to secure our playoff spot against the Cleveland Browns. And and our last game is against the Baltimore Ravens. So the Cleveland Browns have a great defense, and Myles Garrett is looking to break their record. And not having DK Metcalf just makes this task even more challenging. So, but even if he was suspended one game, we still would have been without him for the Cleveland game. I anticipated that, but I definitely didn't anticipate a 2-game suspension and him being without the Ravens. Good news for us, Lamar Jackson got banged up. And I'm not wishing injury on him, but it just balanced out. I feel like if Lamar Jackson is out, this upcoming weekend they lose, it won't even matter. But y'all drop a comment and give me your thoughts, man. My personal take, I don't like this 2-game suspension. I think 1 game was enough. But I knew that would make an example out of him. But DK Metcalf, man, you got to get your anger under control. I've said this before, man. You've cost it on the field, and now you've cost it outside the field. And things like that can only get worse if you don't get a hold on your emotions, man. You got to be better, my brother. If you made this far to the video, I want to say thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, drop a comment, give me your thoughts. Make sure you follow me on TikTok. Definitely follow and subscribe to the God Level Genius YouTube channel. Follow me on Rumble, Twitch as well at God Level Genius. I am James Vergato, and as always, be God Level. The genius is in you. God Level Genius.